Welcome to Swiggin Steves Bargain Beer Reviews. Not a review today. I've decided that I am going to do a football predictions for the World Cup. Quite a cynical approach to the football. I'm not that bothered about football anymore. I generally watch rugby, Formula One, boxing, that sort of stuff these days. Anything but football. But I do like World Cup football, and I love trying to support an underdog, and you'll see that as you'll see in my predictions. I've got a couple of underdogs, in fact, so you'll see how my version of the World Cup is going to unfold this year. So we're going to start off, we're going to go group by group, and the opening game, which is going to cause much controversy. I've got here Saudi Arabia beating Russia 1-0. And that is basically going to do Russia in, because they're going to struggle to get any more points against any of the other teams, as you'll soon find out. I reckon Egypt are going to lose to Uruguay 1-0. But the Egypt and Russia game is going to be 1-0. That's going to be a closely fought contest, at which point Russia will be think that we've still got a shout. I think Saudi Arabia will get battered by Uruguay. And then this is the one. So Egypt are going to beat Saudi Arabia. They've got the easier last game, 2-1. However, Russia are going to beat Uruguay. But because of the goal difference, you see, I'm not sure if I've worked this out properly. Because of the goal, they've scored more goals. Because if we look at the chart, let me explain it. Uruguay will still come at the top with 6 points. But let's get to the bit that's important. So Russia and Egypt come out exactly the same on goal difference and everything. But Egypt have scored one more goal. So I think that means they will go through. So it's going to be a really controversial decision. Or really controversial situation, should I say. Not decision, because it's a score. But on who's going to go through, and it's just going to absolutely cause a riot in Russia. In fact, it might cause a riot to the point where they even have to cancel the football, because there's going to be that many riots going off. They're going to be that unhappy about it that, no one's going to be attending any of the matches and all that sort of stuff. But we'll soon see, because so I'm predicting here Russia are going to get kicked out of the World Cup quite early doors, and it's going to be a fine line between them and Egypt. But I think Uruguay will easily win that group, and I think Egypt will just come underneath. So now we move to I think I'm going to do half at a time. So I'm going to do half the sort of table and then the playoffs, and then I'll do the other half of the table and the playoffs. I don't want to give too much away. So this is quite an interesting group. I don't think this is one of those where all the games are going to be relatively close, but I think this is how it's going to unfold. So Morocco are going to beat Iran 2-1. Spain are going to beat Portugal 2-1. Similar scores. But then this is going to be the first surprise score. I think Morocco are going to beat Portugal. I think Portugal had the day at the Euro Cup, and I think even at Euro Cup, really, we could see that they've not got a lot of players. They just managed to get that momentum going, and Ronaldo's a great player and all that, but he's past his sell-by date, really. I don't know. He proves us wrong every tournament, doesn't he? So we'll soon see. So then we've got Spain and Iran. That's going to be a walkover for Spain. There might even be a higher score than that. Then Portugal are going to beat Iran, and then Spain are going to beat Morocco. But because Morocco beat Portugal, Morocco comes second in that group with 6 points. Spain coming first with 9. They're going to easy win. They're going to walk that group, I think, Spain. Portugal are just going to get 3 points there, and Iran are just making up the numbers. So let's move on to Group C. Now this is going to be another this is going to be a classic group where everyone is quite close, and there's not going to be much in it. We're not going to see one team absolutely battering another one. However, I think France will be the consistently dominant force in this group. They'll start off with what I will think will be a close game against Australia, because I can imagine it being 1-0 to France, then Australia coming back and being 1-1. And I can imagine it all being Australia, and then all of a sudden France counter and it's 2-1. So I can imagine that being the first score. I know we say first games are quite cagey, but Australia are usually quite exciting to watch, actually. Peru. Now, these are going to be my first little dark horse of the tournament. I don't know much about Peru, so on what grounds I'm going on with these predictions, I don't know. But I think Peru might be quite good. So I'm going to say they're going to beat Denmark 1-0. Denmark are going to be making up the numbers. I ain't got any evidence really that Denmark are going to do much in this tournament. Australia will then beat Denmark 1-0. France will beat Peru 1-0. And then Peru will beat Australia 1-0. France will beat Denmark 2-1, which means Peru are going to go through on 6 points. And obviously France are kind of going to sort of walk that group, I suppose. They're only going to win by 1 goal per game, but they're going to comfortably go through. which then brings us to Group D. And anybody who knows me well, I like Croatia. I like to support Croatia. Now, this is an interesting group too. This is how I'm guessing it. Argentina are going to beat Iceland. Quite a close game. Argentina take a while to warm up. And I think once they get going, that's when they get better. And I think they'll just beat Iceland. They'll score in like 89th minute or something. Messi will decide to wake up and then they'll score. And then I think Croatia, Nigeria, a comfortable game that for Croatia, and that's where their confidence will start. They'll quite comfortably beat Nigeria. I watched them against England the other day, and I think similar to England, they'll score 2 or 3 goals at first half. Nigeria will come back to 2-1, but I think Croatia have got more about them than England, and they'll probably win them 3-1. This one, 0-0, is going to be an awful game, this, I can tell you. None of these two teams are going to win. And if anything, Croatia are probably going to look the more interesting of the two. Then we go to Nigeria and Iceland. This is going to be a good game, I think, but they're just playing for nothing because both of the teams are pretty much always all but through really by now. So they're going to batter it out. Both of them need at least a win. So yeah, I think it'll be 2-2 that one. It's quite a good game to watch. So that might be one to watch actually. Croatia are then going to play Iceland. And they're going to win. That might be quite an awful game to watch. I think Croatia will score quite late on, similar to because I think Iceland aren't going to be a walk in the park, as we've seen before in the Euros. Then Argentina are going to beat Nigeria comfortably 2-1. So Croatia actually come at the top of this group. They come at the top, and it goes down to goal difference or the amount of goals scored again. Because I've got Croatia scoring more goals against Nigeria, if that's how it works, because it can't go on head to head because they go 0-0, just like we've got the same situation with Russia and Egypt because they go head to head and 1-1. So yeah, I think it does work out that Croatia will top that group. Iceland and Nigeria forming the bottom. So the first knockout game, we've got France and Argentina, and you can see there I've got Argentina winning. They'll start getting the momentum. This will give them loads of confidence. France will be unlucky here, I think. They'll play well, but Argentina being Argentina will win. Then we go to this game. Uruguay and Morocco. This is going to be the first penalty shootout. I think this is going to be quite a closely contested game. I think Morocco are going to put up a good fight. They've got through. They don't want to get kicked out. They've done well before. I've not spelled that problem. If anyone picking up on my spelling, really, you shouldn't really be watching YouTube videos if you're bothered about people's spelling. Do you know what I mean? I've got a few spelling errors, but I don't really care. So they're going to win 5-4 on penalties. So Uruguay go through, and then Spain and Egypt. Egypt will be dead happy they've got through their group, but then I think it'll be quite a clinical game with Spain. I think they'll score quite early. In fact, I think it'll be 2-0 by 20 minutes, and then that'll be game over. It could be quite a boring game after that, to be honest with you. And then, I don't want us to give anything away, Croatia and Peru. Now, this could be quite a close game, and I think Croatia will just have enough to go through. And so they will then go to the quarterfinals. Quarterfinal number 1 is Argentina and Uruguay. Argentina are going to win. That could be quite a crap game, to be honest with you. Quite closely contended. 1-0. This is where games just get really boring in the cup, in the tournament. Nobody wants to lose. You might even go to penalties that one, but I think Argentina will get through. Spain and Croatia. Now, cast your minds back, people. Cast your minds back to the last Euro Cup where Croatia beat Spain 2-1. Something similar, I think, might happen this time. I think Spain might score quite early on. Quite a close game, but I think Croatia might get 2 quite late on. The good Croatia. They're always dark horses and they can beat anybody on the day. And I'm going to put these down as doing quite well again in this tournament. Okay. I'm not going to go any further than that. I'm going to move to the other side of the board. We'll continue with Group E. Now, Costa Rica and Serbia, I don't know much about. I mean, we saw Costa Rica against England. I thought they were okay. Serbia, 2-2. 2-2 for that one for me. Could be quite, because they play quite exciting football, Costa Rica. But I think Serbia might be a bit more clinical than Costa Rica. But anyway, I don't really know. I've not seen Serbia play. I don't actually know anything about Serbia. Brazil are going to play Switzerland, beat them 2-0. Brazil then going to beat Costa Rica 3-1. Serbia and Switzerland, that's going to be a dreadful game. I think that's going to be 0-0. Serbia 0, Brazil 1. Yeah, that could be quite a close game. Serbia might think we've got a chance here of getting through, but I think Brazil have too much in tank, because I think Brazil play they know they're through by this point, so they'll probably play like a second side. And then Switzerland 2, Costa Rica 1, which then seals Serbia's fate, and it seals Costa Rica's fate, which means Switzerland will go through second with 4 points. Brazil will dominate that group. Now, this is an interesting group, and a lot of people will completely disagree with the scores I'm putting here, but I'm going to go with 2-0. I think Germany have had a few iffy games of late. They always play well in tournaments, let's face it. But I think it's going to be 2-2. Germany 2, Mexico 2. I think that's going to be quite a good opening game. Mexico are quite good. Cast your minds back, guys, to the Olympic Games in 2012, and they won the football in that, I think. And I think some of those players are still in the side. I don't actually know. I might be just talking rubbish. And if they are, they've got that mentality. I think they did really well in the last World Cup, Mexico, so they were unlucky not to do better. Unfortunately, I think they lost against Netherlands had lost against it. It went to penalties, I think. I can't remember. Anyway, it was a close game. Then we go to Sweden. I think Mexico were up, actually. They were winning up until like 80th minute or something daft like that. And Sweden are going to play South Korea. South Korea are just making numbers up, I'm afraid. I ain't got much hope for them. Sweden are going to win that one. Mexico are going to beat Korea quite comfortably. Germany are going to draw against Sweden, I think. They're a bit of a boogie side for Sweden. And I think Sweden, they're a boogie side for a lot of teams, actually. 1-1 that one. Could be quite an interesting game. Then Germany are going to be that upset about drawing to that. They'll batter Korea in the last game. 4-0. And then Mexico will beat Sweden 2-1, which means Mexico come top of this group. 7 points. Germany with 5. Which sets the next game up to be quite tasty, as we'll discover soon. Well, you'll know anyway from the result of that. You'll be able to work it out. So those of you that know how it works will know already that's going to be a tasty next round game, but I don't want to give too much away. So, the England group. Those of you that know me quite well, I'm quite cynical when it comes to England, so you can probably predict already that I'm not giving them much chance. Belgium are going to win Panama 2-0. England are going to draw typically the first game against Tunisia. Might even lose it, to be honest with you. There'll be so much pressure then for this game. Belgium will also draw to Tunisia, I think. I think Tunisia might be quite a good team, and I think the bigger teams of the tournament, of the group, England and Belgium, will struggle against them. And England will put so much pressure on themselves, they'll just bomb it against Panama, and it'll be 0-0, I think. They'll not finish, they'll just be too nervous, and they'll bomb it. And then Belgium will win 1-0, and then Panama will beat Tunisia, I think, 2-0, because they've got nothing to lose. They think, we've got a chance here, last game. Belgium will win. They'll probably think England can only get a draw against Belgium. They'll think, right, let's go for it against Tunisia. And they'll do it 2-0. That's my prediction. Which means Belgium and Panama will go through in that group, England coming third. I'd be interested to see if people can argue with that one, because on what we've seen in England in past, I can't see it being better than that. I might be wrong. I think the thing is, if England beat Tunisia, that'll make a difference. Because I think they'll beat Panama then, and then they'll come top at group, or if not second. And then it'll be all about how Belgium play against other teams and what that game's like. So that brings us to Group H. Some of you will probably be down already. But listen, anything can happen in World Cup. So this is my next underdog. I think Colombia are going to be an underdog. They did really well in the last tournament, and they haven't got Brazil to play early doors, and you'll understand why in a minute when I explain how the rest of it's going to unfold. So they're going to beat Japan. They're just making numbers up, I think, Japan. So that's going to be 3-0. Poland are going to beat Senegal 2-1. Another team that might be making numbers up and all. Japan will beat Senegal, making it Japan's only win. Colombia will beat Poland 2-1. Could be quite a good game, that. Poland will beat Japan 2-1. That could potentially be a good game as well, that might be, because Japan usually really go for it the last game. Colombia will batter Senegal last game, I think. Yeah, Colombia, top of that group quite comfortably. And Poland might do okay. We'll see. Here we go. So, the first knockout stage on this half of the table. So Brazil are going to play Germany, and I think Germany being on this side of the country might get a bit more home support, and I think that might be enough to get them through. I think it'll be a very fiercely fought game because we all know what Germany did to Brazil in Brazil, and that might be laying in a lot of Brazilians' minds, and I think that'll be their tournament out. Second round, Brazil, I'm saying, could be out. Never mind. So the next one, I'm saying game 6. Belgium and Poland. I think Belgium will win. I think Belgium might be another dark horse at the tournament. I'm predicting them to quite a lot better than I thought I would initially. But yeah, anyway, I think Belgium are going to beat Poland 2-0 quite comfortably. I don't think Poland will have quite enough for them. But that could go either way, couldn't it? If they do really well in the group stages, it could be different again. Also, so we'll see. Mexico and Switzerland. I think Mexico will batter Switzerland, actually. I think that scoreline might end up flattering Switzerland. They're another dark horse at the tournament. I think Mexico might do quite well. They'll go through. And then Colombia. Yeah, Panama, they're going to be so excited about getting through a group with England and Belgium. They're going to be a little bit like Egypt. It's going to be too much from going up against Colombia. Colombia will be really ready for this. They'll probably played Panama in the past as well, being quite close neighbours geographically. I think that one could be quite an easy win for Colombia. So then that brings us up to its first quarter final where Germany play Belgium, and I think Belgium are going to win. It. And this is where people are going to go, nah, and to be rightfully so, it probably will go Germany's way, but I'm going to go Belgium. So they go as a semi-finalist. And then Mexico and Colombia, and this is going to be a very closely fought game. Could be quite a boring game. And it's going to go to penalties, and Colombia are going to win 4-2, which is a shame. I'd love to see Mexico further at quarterfinals, but I don't see it happening. I think Colombia will be better, and they will go through. So semi-final 1, Argentina and Belgium. And I'm going to say Belgium are going to win on penalties. I'm just going to say it's going to be 0-0. Belgium are going to go and win on penalties. So that means Belgium are then in the final. Lol. Semi-final 2, we've got Croatia will do really well against Colombia. I think it could be a very good game, but I think Colombia will do too much for them, which means Colombia go to the final as well. So we've got Belgium and Colombia in the final. Okay? And then the playoffs, Argentina, lip will be out, and Croatia will win, I think. They'll not be happy that they've not won and got through, so I think Croatia might be... they'll be excited about getting to the semis. They'll see it as a real mastery achievement. And Croatia, I think, will go on and win because they'll have the peckers up. So, in the final, here we go. I'm going to say Colombia are going to win 4-2. I think it's going to be an high-scoring final. I'm being quite optimistic there, I know. It's going to be an high-scoring final, and Belgium are going to lose. I think it could be quite a close first half. It might even be 2-2 after the first half, or 2-1 to Belgium, or 2-1 to Colombia. And then they're going to open up a bit in the second half and close it off, I think. So there we go. Colombia are going to win their first World Cup according to Swiggin Steve. I'd love to know what your predictions are for the World Cup. If you disagree or agree with any of my predictions, it's up there for you to look at. And there we go. So there you go. Colombia are going to win the World Cup. Nice knowing you. Next time it'll be a beer review, I promise. See you later.